Thanks for tuning in with RC Hospice Hospice Talks, episode number 5. We are talking about do's and don'ts at a visit. So we have the lovely Kelsey here with us. She is an admissions nurse. We have Tom Rupp, who is an awesome chaplain. DJ, who you don't have to ask for, by the way. Totally joking.
We'll edit that part out.
No, this is actually all live right now. So what I would love to ask first and foremost is, when you go on a visit, DJ, what do you do at your visits? Like, what are the do's and the don'ts, like from the front door, knocking at the door? What do you do?
Well, standard, you want to make sure that you're
at the right address.
Scheduled, yeah. That
Showing
keep the
up
family
unannounced.
well deprived of when you're coming, so
Awesome.
you're expected. Always introduce yourself, be courteous, wash your hands before starting any patient care, especially with today. If you're noticing any symptoms, or if you have any sniffles, or anybody in the family has something, we'll wear a mask up to foot booties. Take the standard precautions for whatever we're walking
And we
into.
supply foot booties and anything that you
We
may
do.
need as well, so let us know. Awesome. What else do you do?
And then it starts from the standard assessment. We will monitor your loved one's vital signs. We will help to make sure they're in a good condition. If they need new equipment, some people are in their own personal bed at home, or some people may need the use of a hospital bed, which we provide. Any of the equipment that's required for their care, we can also provide, and we ensure that all the supplies are up to date. We will check the medications and manage reordering your meds if that's the case. We'll make sure you have a good supply and that you're well taken care of, so that you don't need to worry about it. You let us handle that.
So I know that, and Kelsey, you can probably answer this, an RN case manager manages the full case, which means a home health aide or an LVN that may follow. What does the home health aide do under your supervisions or cares?
So the home health aide comes out, depending on how often we schedule them, and they basically they bathe them. So whether the patient is able to get up and ambulate to use the shower, and they can use the shower chair, or if it's a bed bath, they come out and they do that, and then they monitor the skin and they report back to the case manager and say, hey, we noticed some redness here. Sometimes they'll take a little picture so that we're able to actually assess.
With consent, of course.
With consent, of course.
Of course.
But just so that way the nurse is able to assess and give them advice and say, okay, yes, let's start using Calmacepti, and I'll come out tomorrow and do another visit.
You know what I love actually is the aides end up seeing a lot more than what the nurses do a lot of times, because they are with them in the most intimate ways, right? The bed baths, the showers, and the changing. Has there ever been any case where a patient just does not want an aide or a visit? Like, what do you do in those
So
times?
there are patients that don't want home health aides. Sometimes they're still able to do things themselves, and that's what they want to do. Sometimes they have a family member who does it, and they're very private, and that's okay too.
Yeah.
I always say, if it gets too hard for you, just let us know. We can always have a home health aide come out and help you.
I love that.
Sometimes even if it's just to train them, this is the actual right way to transfer them, or this is the right way to move them from here, do this, do that, and it's just an extra pair of hands.
That's awesome. Tom, I know you make visits too, and yours is not just spiritual counseling, because I know you're just this, the way I've always described you is an amazing company. Comes in, you want to watch football with him, baseball. I think you play the harmonica. Do you have the harmonica on you today?
Do not.
Oh man,
Sorry.
next episode.
Yeah.
Tell us about your visits, please.
A little different angle than nurses or home health aides, but still in just sort of the same thing. I'm thinking of do's and don'ts, and I'm thinking of them as together. For instance, do be pleasant, but don't be preachy. Do listen, but don't talk. I will talk, but I will talk at their request. I will talk at their direction, not at mine. I'm not there. It's not my agenda. Do not have an agenda. My agenda is not to say, well, I'll make sure this is going to happen today.
Yeah.
It's almost like an open thing. As a chaplain, it's like, okay, Lord, how will this fall out today? And then approach it in that angle. How is this going to turn?
So, hitting on that, I do know that sometimes you and DJ go and do joint visits together. So could you let us know what happens with those?
Should I start?
You start.
So sometimes nursing care can be a little how do you say it? Not quite as comforting because you're more looking at it from a science-based aspect, and
They see you like the angel of death.
Yeah, and Tom comes in and he's just more of a friendly face and
The heavenly angel.
Yes. So we have some patients who may be a little standoffish. They may feel a little uncomfortable with having the blood pressure taken, and we're doing things that are almost invasive to their privacy. Whereas Tom comes in and just kind of provides a comforting presence, can talk to them, get them opened up.
Maybe a little bit of relief.
Yeah.
Not intrusive. And by the way, there are times when some of DJ's tasks, I will ask him, would you like me to leave the room for a minute? You know, depending on what it is he's going to need to do with the patient, male or female.
Yeah.
That's not the issue. The issue is if, you know, so I'll and sometimes, or even if the patient's able to respond, I'll say, hey, would you like me to step out until he's done? And if they're able to respond to me. So we're working together, like, and a lot of times it's almost like if I can use this word, like a distraction. Not a bad distraction, but saying, here, let me take your mind off of this while he's doing that.
Of course.
And it's a good pairing. It's a good team. I've gone with other nurses. I've gone with a social worker to various visits, and I personally really like the concept of joint visits.
I love that too. With all the stories and the experiences, we even get the feedback from the patients, and they tell us how joint visits are like friends visiting, rather when it's one person going, and it just feels so formal. So, and I love that you guys take your time with them and you speak to them, and I don't know, like I really, really think a nurse plays the role of a social worker and a chaplain a lot of time as well. But whenever the chaplain goes on its own, and like I said, I've said this in episodes to come, Tom in a way is like a social worker as well, because you are there to be present for their psychosocial, spiritual, and just to hear them out.
It's all intertwined.
Yeah.
Everything affects everything.
Exactly.
I say, especially when you guys go together, it's like caring for the whole person all in one.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely. You know, Tom, I have a question for you actually.
All right.
We should have addressed this in the last episode, but we didn't. And you know, one of the myths is also when a chaplain comes, it's because he's about to say the last rite.
Yeah.
Do you have any comments about that? Like, tell me, has that ever happened when a patient saw you and they're like, oh my gosh, no, don't come in?
No, it's usually stopped before I ever got there because of that myth, though.
Yeah.
And so what will happen is, there are some who believe that. I believe in the Catholic Church, it's called now the Ministry of Anointing, because one time I called one of the local parishes to see, and I used the term last rites, and they corrected me. Oh no, we call that Ministry of Anointing, which is the same sort of thing.
Yeah.
The idea being, and not to be humorous about this, but it's almost like I represent the angel of death. Oh no, don't let him in the door. So instead of that, usually on phone, if people think that myth, they'll say, "Oh no, we don't want to see the chaplain." It's not an immediate pronouncement of death, and I'm not bringing death with me.
No.
You know, and so it's not that at all.
He's bringing his harmonica with
Bring
him.
a harmonica, bringing life, hopefully bringing love and laughter, and if needed, or whatever it is you need, whatever it is. That's the thing, to be aware. And again, as a chaplain, help me, Lord, open my eyes to see what this person wants. If they don't tell me, help me to see what they need.
I love that. I love that.
Hitting on that point, a lot of times at my admissions, people will be like, "Oh no, I don't want the chaplain." Like, it doesn't have to be a total spiritual. It's not like it's just that he's a great person. He can be your friend. Like sometimes so many people are lonely.
Yeah.
Like even in the board and cares, in the assisted livings, even at home, even when sometimes like they have family there, but their family is in another room because they're not able to get up and go over there. So I'm like, he can just come out and be your friend for like an hour. Like,
I love that.
Because if you want to watch golf, he'll sit and watch golf.
Yep.
And just make comments that you want to hear, like, you know, just
Yep.
be there for you.
And I think it has like no disrespect to the family, because you know, being a working person ourselves, we know how difficult it is to care for loved ones when you have a full-time job and you have your own family to take care of, and you know, there's that guilt that follows you, and we're here to tell you, don't feel guilty. You know, that's what we're here for, to be able to give you some kind of rest, some kind of peace of mind, to care for your loved ones the way you would. And if we can go above and beyond, we're going to. A lot of people don't know this, but RC Hospice Care is actually my father's legacy, and we have lost him a few years ago. And for me, it's so important for people during the times of the visits that lead up to the stages of imminence and the patients or the people passing. It's so important for me for people to feel peace and just to understand that it's a process, you know, it's not the end. I mean, I myself believe in God, and I know that, you know, it's not the end. We will see them again. And for those of you who don't believe in that, just to have that peace knowing that you did everything you possibly could, and we were here to help in any way we could. So thank you guys so much for tuning in. Look out for more episodes. Have a wonderful day.